Hello, my name is Zachary Rodriguez. I'm doing my virtual visitation project for my World Religions class for Professor Del Rosario. I chose the topic of I chose the religion to do my project on of Islam, religion of Islam. Today is the 27th of September, 2020. I had originally planned on to do my project on a pre-recorded or live service at a local mosque, which is like the temples, what they call the temples in the religion of Islam. But the one I chose, I thought had pre-recorded or live streams. They actually did not, so I had to find one, and it took me a while to find one. I found one on YouTube. It is, so I hope that's okay. It's like a switch up. I'll put the link at the end, or I'll put a link in this video. But yeah, it's called Long Beach Mosque, and I'm assuming it's in Long Beach, California. So what I noticed when I was watching it, that there are some similarities between the churches I've been to in Christianity, and there are some notable differences. So first off, how this whole service went about was, well, they walked in, they had their worship, then they had their sermon, and then they had a time of prayer, and that was pretty much it. That's pretty standard. Like, you go into any like Christian church, and they have prayer, they have worship, they have all that, usually in that order. And so yeah, that was basic. But what was weird, or was different, was not weird. What was different was, so the music to begin with. In the beginning, there was no words. It was more of there were hums, or it was like a bunch of like different pitches of like the same note, and like there's going higher and lower, and like there's one guy in the front. He wasn't even looking at the crowd. He just had like the microphone, and he was looking straight ahead at the wall, just doing his thing in his worship, and he was doing the humming for everybody. And there was no set standard normal on what to do when you're in the mosque, or like when during the worship portion. Like in like a Christian church, everyone is like, oh, stand up, oh, be engaged. There's people like dancing, and or like putting their hands up, and everyone's standing up though. Everyone's standing up. That's like the norm in the Christian church. In the mosque, you do whatever you want to connect to their God, to Allah, and to connect to him, and however, or just like connect to his spirituality. I don't know the whole ins and outs of religion yet. I'm barely touching the surface, but you can stand, you can sit, eyes closed, eyes open, whatever you need to do to just fully be in the moment and fully capture what you need to capture. So doing whatever you need to do in order to attain that is the norm. Is doing whatever you want to do. And so once that was done, they all sat down for the sermon. They didn't sit down in chairs. So in everywhere else, like I've been, has chairs or benches or something to sit on. They have this carpet, and it's like designed so there's like a little set part that you sit in on your knees or on your butt or whatever, on your bottom, my bad. And you sit down and you just you watch. You're engaged in the sermon now. There's no chairs. You're just on the floor on your rug in your designated zone. I don't know why they did this. I don't know if my speculation. If I would, that'd be like one of the questions I ask is like, why don't you have chairs? Maybe it's to, I don't know, feel as if it were before they had chairs, or feel as it. I don't know. I have no idea as to why this on the floor. Maybe it's to make you feel more servant-like, because you're on the floor, like the lowest part of, like you're sitting on the lowest of the low, and like your God is like at the highest of the high. So maybe it's like showing the difference between the two. I don't know. That's just my speculation. Maybe that'd be one of the questions that I'd ask, is why there are no chairs. The architecture was different than most churches I've been to, but not like so different that it was mind-blowing. Their mosque, it was, so the front of the room, a white wall, and there's like a base that kind of like goes overhead right here. There's a TV up there, and then there's in the corner there is the preacher, and he is dressed up in a suit, which is normal, but he had like a little hat on. I don't know what it was called. I don't know what those are called yet, but he had a little hat on, and it wasn't like a normal hat. I'm sure it was some type of religious standing hat, or like a religious hat of some sort. But he was in the corner behind the podium, which is like I've seen standard in like Catholic churches or Christian churches. Any church I've been to has like a podium. He has his stuff behind there, and he's preaching to you. And I was expecting the preaching to be, I don't know, completely different. But he was talking as if he was any other preacher. Like he was talking to, I don't know if I thought there'd be like a language difference, or I don't know what I was thinking. Coming into this, I didn't have any I had presets, but I like preset like thoughts of like what it might be, but I couldn't pinpoint those presets. I don't know exactly what I thought. It just wasn't what I expected, but I don't even know what I expected. Anyways, he spoke on a few different things. He spoke on how they need to change pessimism to optimism to activism. He spoke on people out there damaging the name of, or the religion and the people of Islam, Muslims damaging their name by committing terrorist acts in the name of Islam. He was saying that they have to ignore that and separate themselves and like just keep focusing on them, on their religion, and making sure that everybody knows that that is not correlated to what they are trying to represent. He also spoke on his friend that they should always try and live their life according to their laws, and always try and like spread their word to whoever. And he was talking about his friend who owned a body shop, and he'd always try to, whenever he went to the body shop, he'd always try and speak to him about Allah and Islam and being a Muslim. And his friend was like, no, I don't want that. And then a couple years later, his friend called him in like his last few days, and he died not being a Muslim. And he was talking about how hard that was for him, not being able to, not working hard enough to spread the word, especially to someone he cared about, which is very similar to like something you could see in Christianity. Is obviously the way to heaven in Christianity is through Jesus Christ and salvation alone. And when you're trying to spread that to like your family members or like a friend, and they're not wanting to accept it, and then like in the last few days they still don't accept it, and then that they probably didn't go to heaven. I'm sure that'd be hard on anyone. So that's a similarity you can see across all religions. What else did he speak about? He spoke about a few different things that I wasn't able to understand because I don't know everything about Islam, but he was speaking. He said some terms that I couldn't quite make out, or I didn't know what they meant, and I'm sure they were major terms, but I didn't know what they meant. In the bio of the video, it says his name was Fairboers Frank Sefernia, and they referenced his sermon based on the Quran, chapter 59, verses 18 and 19. That was just in the bio. I don't know. That could be what else the terms that I didn't know were speaking about. Let's see. Am I missing anything? Insights. So, some questions I had would have been, why is there no chairs? Because that's like obviously different. I would have asked why there isn't a live band, why they just do hums and things like that. I would have asked them what those terms were they said. If I was there in person, I would have asked what those terms meant, and I had a conversation about that. There's like a few slight things that I would notice. There's obviously differences between the church services I've been to and this Mosque Friday service I was able to watch online. But it was a cool, really interesting experience just seeing like the similarities and differences between my own experiences, and um, it wasn't that much different, or at least the one I watched wasn't like so different that it wasn't anything like completely out there. I was expecting something. I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but coming into it, I RC came through and watched it, and it was some more similar to Christianity than I believed to be at first. Just like the service structure. I mean, not like the content, but the service structure was similar to Christianity. Like you walk in, there's worship, then there's sermon, there's prayer, and then you go home. That was like the basic service structure. And so, yeah, that's what I was able to get. I'm hitting the 11-minute mark, so I'm probably going to be a little over. Yeah. So it's kind of weird viewing you, but yeah, cool. It's like my 10th time doing this, so I'm just trying to make sure I get everything in correctly. All right, I think I got everything covered. So, thank you for your time. This is my video for the virtual visitation project for Islam. Thank you, Professor Del Rosario, and you have a great day.